Hey Internet, today I'm going to talk about misandry and feminism. Misandry, feminism. I'm a feminist. The reason why I wanted to focus on this topic is that often people use anecdotal examples of feminism to explain why feminism is bad. And what actually gets said in those anecdotes are descriptions of acts of misandry they've experienced. To set the record straight, misandry is not feminism. If you have experienced prejudice or felt threatened because of your male gender, then you have experienced misandry. That is not feminism. Being a feminist means you're for the advancement and equality of women, and in more recent years, depending on who you're talking to, being for the advancement and equality of trans and non-binary, non-cisgendered peoples. This is one of the many intersections of feminism which I could spend an entire video on, and I would love to do that. So thumbs up if you'd like for me to make a video on the intersectionalities of feminism. For now, I just want to focus on misandry. Why do I want to focus on misandry? Because every complaint I've ever heard about feminism isn't actually about feminism, it's about misandry. And it usually comes in the form of describing an experience with someone, potentially with a feminist, where the describer was insulted on the premise of their masculinity. Normally because they were told men are oppressors, and they're not oppressors. Feminists don't know what they're talking about. But what I really think is happening is the derailment of the actual conversation about feminism that needs to happen. Women experience oppression. They experience it because of their gender. That is not to say all oppressors are men, or that you, the man who is being conversed with about feminism, are a knowing participator in said oppression. Emphasis on the knowing. It is to say we live in a male-dominant society, where the traits of masculinity are valued and the traits of femininity are not, and anyone from any gender can inflict that oppression on someone. Even more so, the someone having that oppression inflicted on them could be from any gender. The best example I can think of off the top of my head of how we value male traits over female traits is the whole men don't cry social script. We associate emotions, especially emotions we equate with vulnerability, with femininity and subsequently weakness, which is not okay. It's okay to cry. It's a normal human response to things. It's also not okay to associate crying with being like a woman, in that being like a woman is being weak. Women aren't weak. That's a fallacy. This is where I personally want to come back to misandry. Recently, it was pointed out to me that I've been saying that's such a man thing to do. And this, in its simplest form, is misandry. It is a bias against men. Not to make excuses, but it comes from my own experiences. And it's not okay for me to do this, because I'm deciding that the thing that annoys me is a weakness that only men are capable of, which isn't true. Viewing the world that way is not what feminism is about. I certainly wouldn't want it in the reverse, and I haven't liked it when I've experienced it. But here I was, doing it, saying it, responding to people with it, which is why I don't want to be anecdotal, and I don't want you to be either. My experiences don't matter in the larger conversation. What matters is explaining the system of oppression that keep women from reaching their fullest potential. I will say my experiences matter to me, obviously. I live every day with those moments and experiences where I was verbally and physically made to feel inferior because of my gender. Part of dealing with it, and sometimes the struggle with it, is extending to people the same equal treatment that I ask for. And sometimes I don't want to. Some days those memories hurt more than others. I'm still trying, which is part of why it's not okay for you to derail the vastly important conversation about feminism with your anecdote about how some woman at a party said she was a feminist and made you feel bad about being a man. What she said wasn't about you. It was about her experiences, but also about the world as it is, and an idea of how it could be. And possibly it was an attempt to get someone else on board to help make that happen. I'm being a little anecdotal now myself, but that's okay. Anecdotes are okay when used to provide context, but they're not helpful when used to put an end to a conversation. What do you guys think? Is it okay if the results of a conversation about feminism make someone else feel bad? Let me know in the comments, or wherever else you talk to me. But if you love me, in the comments.